Welcome back to Brain Unpacked, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of brain. I am your host, RISHIKA GARG, and today on this episode, we are going to find out how the brain is divided into different regions and what it has to do with mental health. We hear these terms being thrown around all the time. But what does this frontal lobe, the limbic system, or the cerebrum even do? And what role do these play in mental health conditions? So let's break it all down. First, let's start off by getting a good grounding in the basic partitions of the brain. The human brain is so incredibly complex, but for your sake, I'll break it up into three main parts: the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. Each of these parts play a very important role in what we do, how we feel, and what our cognitive abilities are. So let's take a closer look at each one of them. The control center of the brain, or the forebrain, is the most advanced part of the brain. It performs a variety of functions and also has various structures such as the cerebrum, which is the outermost layer of the brain, and the limbic system, a complex that plays a key role in emotion and memory. There are two hemispheres in the brain, the left and the right. Even though each hemisphere controls different functions, there are functions that people commonly assume to be associated with either hemisphere. For example, the left hemisphere has to do with language and analytical tasks, whereas the right hemisphere is more to do with creativity. Let's talk a little bit more about the limbic system. The limbic system, perhaps, is one of the most important parts of the forebrain. It consists of structures such as the amygdala and the hippocampus. Now, what does all this have to do with the mental health? That's a question to think upon. Well, problems in the forebrain, especially the limbic system, can actually cause mental health conditions. For example, an overactive amygdala is frequently part of the pathology for anxiety and PTSD, while damage to the hippocampus leads to the memory problems or perhaps may even add to the conditions found in Alzheimer's disease. Now, let's talk about the midbrain, or the relay station of the brain. The midbrain is a smaller subdivision that acts as an intercommunicating relay and is responsible for handling the transmission of visual information and management of movements. Now, you might wonder what midbrain has to do with mental health. अरे हमारी दिमागी हालत ठीक रखता है. That means the dopamine system is crucial in several psychiatric disorders, including the Parkinson's disease and depression. For example, abnormal dopamine transition in the midbrain causes hallucination and delusional symptoms. Now, let's discuss about the last division of our brain, the hindbrain. It consists of two parts, the brainstem and the cerebellum. These two parts control life-sustaining activities such as breathing, heartbeat, and motor coordination. Talking more about them, brainstem controls the involuntary functions of the heartbeat, breathing, and digestion, whereas the cerebellum helps in the regulation of the activities of motor functions along with coordination of balance. Disorders connected to the hindbrain may cause very dangerous neurological and physical conditions. Now, let's come back to the main question: how did the divisions of brain relate to mental health? Well, certain mental health problems arise due to the improper functioning of parts in the brain. Sometimes these issues arise due to a chemical imbalance in the brain, such as serotonin or dopamine. Other times, it is due to stress. The cause can also be a genetic cause. For example, anxiety. The overactivity of amygdala found in your forebrain may develop so that you feel nervous and scared even when there's no real threat. Depression. Change to the cerebrum affects moods, especially mood regulation and motivation, and may make you feel sad, tired, or disconnected. Attention deficit or hyperactivity disorder, also known as ADHD, has been associated with problems with the prefrontal cortex of the forebrain. These areas' dysfunction may lead to feelings of sadness and hopelessness and a lack of motivation. यार अब तो सब सुन लिया कि दिमाग में क्या प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं, कैसे होती हैं, किसकी वजह से होती हैं, बट ध्यान कैसे रखें अपने दिमाग का? For me personally, exercise in general really helps my brain. It gets that blood flowing into my brain, creating serotonin and dopamine, which are healthy chemicals released by my brain. Extremely important and vital, and my most favorite, sleep. If one doesn't sleep enough, the brain doesn't get a chance to relax, recharge, and process all the information it has taken in during the day. Stress management is also essential activity which can be used to take care of our brain. Activities such as mindfulness, deep breathing, or just the need for a break can keep one's brain in balance. And always, if you ever had a feeling that your mental health is against you, it is recommended that you talk to somebody, perhaps a parent, teacher, counselor, or even a friend would work. Your brain needs care as much as the rest of the body does. And that's all for today's episode. Thanks for tuning in into the Brain Unpacked. And don't forget, there is much more to come your way. Stay tuned for plenty of interesting episodes ahead. Until then, take care of your brain. It's the only one you've got.